Hoardganize Podcast. I am your host, professional organizer Rachel Seavey, and it's time to get organized. Hey, collectors, Happy New Year. Welcome back. We're at season 4 of the Hoardganize Podcast. I'm so happy to be here. We've got a new intro. We've got lots of new podcast ideas, lots of cool guests coming on this season. Today, we are talking about 7 tips to help you stay organized in this new year. It's 2020. I know a lot of you have been wanting to get organized for a very long time. And you know what? This is your year. My first tip is, it's really basic, but it's something that I encounter all the time. Tip number 1 is to get rid of junk mail immediately. When you get your mail, immediately look through it and put all of the junk mail into the recycling. I can't tell you how many endless hours I've spent personally just going through people's junk mail and having them recycle it myself. And if you're concerned about your name being out there and you're saving up stacks and stacks of, shredding because your name and your address might be on one of these Victoria's Secret ads, your name and your address is out there in the internet anyway. It's really easy to find who someone is and where they live if you really want. So the idea of someone going through your mail and looking through your junk mail and finding anything about you that's interesting is pretty outdated now. So my very first tip, I know it's super simple. You probably have heard it from so many other organization books and organizers, but tip number 1 for the new year to staying organized is just immediately get rid of your junk mail. And if you have to shred it, immediately shred it, but it's kind of not really worth it at this point because your information's already out there. Okay? Tip number 2 is to set aside at least 1 hour each week for laundry and for paperwork. These are the 2 factors that I come across a lot in my work. I can't tell you how much laundry that I do. I can't tell you how many papers that I go through every week. It's a very big deal. People have a really hard time with their laundry and with their paperwork. So you definitely want to schedule these on your iPhone. I know I've suggested it to you before. I can't say it enough. You're going to want to go on your iPhone, pick a legitimately serious time that you actually have available to spend 1 hour doing your laundry. And it doesn't have to be washed, dried, folded, put away. I mean, just spend an hour, whatever it takes in an hour, whatever you get done in an hour, go ahead and start there. Do the same thing, an hour for your paperwork. It doesn't have to be perfection, but progress is definitely going to keep you going into the new year and get you into these new habits and behaviors and getting you into a really organized lifestyle. Tip number 3, resist buying items in bulk or items that are on sale. You don't need anything. It's a lot of you live alone. I mean, I, pretty much live alone as well. And you don't need all that stuff. You don't need to go to Costco and stack up on all of these different kinds of paper goods and stuff. If you're just living by yourself and you're really trying to declutter and minimize all the clutter around, then you don't need giant boxes of macaroni and cheese and all these, 100 cans of canned goods. And I see people doing that. I see people buying in bulk because it's a discount and everyone likes to get a value, but it's not really a value if you're not using the stuff and it's cluttering up your house. So really resist. I'm not saying, don't buy toilet paper. I'm just saying resist buying in bulk or resist trying to fall into all those deep discounts because you don't actually end up using this stuff and it's just cluttering up your home. Tip number 4, this is a biggie. For each item that you bring in, get rid of 1 or 2. So if you get a new blouse, that's great. You love it. It was on sale, whatever. It's your color. It's got bling. That's wonderful. When you get home, I want you to take 2 blouses out of your closet and immediately put them into a donation bag. You don't have enough space for everything. And I know we all like to get new things and feel good about ourselves. And sometimes we reward ourselves by buying stuff. I mean, a lot of people use shopping as therapy. I am aware of this. However, if you're overwhelmed and you've got clothing everywhere and clutter everywhere, the last thing you really need to be doing is bringing more into your home. So if you just can't resist the temptation, bring that item home and get rid of 2 of the exact same category and put those into the donation bag. We are now on to tip number 5. Tip number 5 is something that I do quite often, actually every year, is I create a vision board. What is a vision board? It's where you get creative and you think about where do you want to be within the next year? What are your organizational goals within the next year? And be fun about it. I mean, do you want to paint your house at some point? Do you want to recarpet? Do you want to refinish those cabinets? Start finding some magazine photos or some articles or something on the internet that you can print out, and you just want to glue them or tape them to like a large piece of cardboard or a large poster board, and put that poster board up exactly where you can see it every single day. I have my vision board up in my office so that when I'm working, I can casually just glance up at it and say, hey, what are my organizing goals? What are my financial goals? What are my love life goals? What about my travel? And it doesn't just have to be organizing. I mean, what are your goals for the year 2020? You want to capture those in some sort of an image because we're also visual, and put it all together on a vision board. If you're following me on Pinterest, I have a bunch of different ideas on vision boards, and you can find all sorts of different ideas on vision boards all over online. It's a great way to stay motivated. It's a great way to help you remember what it is that you're shooting for. So if you want to put in new flooring, take a picture of some beautiful flooring, or clip it out of a magazine. I know you have stacks of magazines that you're not doing anything with. And don't go out and buy anything for your vision board. All of you have scissors and tapes. I know this, magazines, photos that you can use already. It's nothing that I want you to make a career about. It's nothing that I want you to acquire things for. It's just a really fun visual way to keep on track for your organizing goals. So, think big. Are you going to be gardening? Do you want to start cooking again once you're organized? Maybe you want to, clip some photos of that. Are you going to travel more once you're organized? Where are you going to go? So all of your visions, all of your ideas, you're going to want to track those on a vision board and put them somewhere where you can see them easily to stay focused and stay on track. Tip number 6 is to spend more time giving and less time taking and acquiring and accumulating and wanting to obtain things. So I don't mean just giving when it comes to, money or donations to the donation center. I mean, give your time. Even if you don't have time to volunteer, spend time with your friends. Spend time giving to your family members, to your church, to your granddaughters, to your kids, to your dogs. Spend time giving energy out to your cats or things that are really important to you, and spend a lot less time acquiring and shopping and trying to just hoard out your spot. And the secret to living is giving. I know it's really cheesy. It really is an important thing to also give to yourself. A lot of us are neglecting ourselves. Your self-care isn't where it needs to be. So instead of acquiring, a whole bunch of makeup off of QVC that you're never even going to open, spend some time going out to get a manicure. Start, taking a half-hour walk if you want to start working on your weight. As well, spend time with you, reconnecting with you, giving yourself, more of a spiritual connection, more of a romantic connection, more of just friends, and just put it out there in the universe that you're more open to giving than you are to receiving, and the kind of abundance that you obtain by spending time with yourself and spending time with people doesn't clutter up your home. Tip number 7, it's the last tip of the day. It's to raise your standards. If you're tired of living in filth, if you're tired of being surrounded by dirty dishes, if you're tired of your laundry piles being out of control, then it's up to you to raise your standards. How long are you going to live in this type of filth? How long are you going to be embarrassed to have people over? How long are you going to punish yourself by not having a relationship or not having kids yet or not being able to travel because you're not organized? You've got to raise your standards. And if you don't raise your standards now in 2020. I mean, think of yourself in 2025, 2030. Think of your older self, one that's not as physically able, one that's not as sharp. I mean, are you going to want to just be overloaded with 5-10 years more worth of stuff in the future? That's where you're going to be if you don't raise your standards. If you don't say, this is enough, I'm tired of living in filth, I'm tired of living in squalor, I'm tired of being surrounded by dirty laundry, I'm tired of not being able to date, I'm tired of being embarrassed and ashamed, then it's really time to raise your standards. And that's really only something that you can do. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to season 4. I've got some really fun people coming onto the podcast over the next few weeks, so I hope you enjoy them as well. And if you are following me on Instagram, you're able to see the cool projects that I'm working on under Collector Care 1. Make sure that you're watching this on YouTube, that you're subscribed, that you're clicking the thumbs up button. It actually makes me feel really good to know when you do like my show. And feel free to comment. You know, I love hearing what you have to say. Until next time, collectors. And remember, happiness is a place. It's between too little and too much.